Hi, welcome to Linda Toman Craft Alone. Welcome to my channel. If you like the videos that you see on my channel, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. Now onward onto our project for today. It's a Valentine's card, and we're starting with using a steel rule die. I have my paper set up here so that on my plate, if you've never used a Sizzix Big Shot Plus, what it is it's a die cutting, but it's not electric, it's hand crank. And that right there is a steel rule die that came with it, and I'm going to use it so that I can get the hearts out of the red and the leaves out of the green. That is why I've got the two separate colors on the plate like that. Now when you're doing this with the steel rule die, you can cut more than one sheet of paper at a time. And at this point right here, I'm trying to do this one-handed, so please excuse all the wonkiness of the video. But so here I am trying to line it up so that the leaves are on the green and the hearts are on the red. And I just said that backwards. But anyway, and then I put on my second plate, which now I have created a sandwich with the cutting plates. And I'm going to set them onto the Sizzix, and then I'm going to hand crank it. There goes the second plate. To do it one-handed, I had to take the top plate off and then re-sandwich it. And then I'm going to roll it through. Say rolling, 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 get the paper going. And come back again. A lot of people don't do it twice. I always do it twice, especially when I have multiple layers of paper. And I did multiple layers of paper because I don't like to redo things over and over and over. So here you have it. I used it. It cut through several layers. I'll have many different layers there. So the first layer kind of like cut off the sides of the leaves. But when I got down to the solid green for the leafy thing, which I ended up not using on my card anyway, but I got the hearts and I got the flowers and I got the butterflies. And I'm saying a bunch of stuff I don't remember. So here I am. I have everything laid out now and trying to get an idea of what it is exactly I want to do. I'm going to make the flower and thinking, do I want a butterfly or... Now the paper I'm using right there is a digital paper that I created myself in Procreate and printed it out on my printer. And now I'm just going to fold the petals so that they begin to take shape of like a real flower instead of a paper flower. So I fold them in like this and then I roll them around the thing. You'll see as we go. And I had to, doing this takes a lot longer than what this video actually shows, because when you're editing the videos, you have to cut out so much of it. Otherwise, you guys would be sitting here for like an hour and a half, like I was when I was doing it. So now I'm going to ink the edges to give them a little bit more depth, a little shadowiness to it, instead of just that stark white on the edges, seeing as how I printed it myself. And now I'm going to try to give it a little more realistic flower tipping, edge tipping and stuff. And I'm using Brutus Monroe ink, surface ink in the color Rouge with my Ranger blending tool. Which I will add links to all the products that I use in here. So now here I am just blending the ink. If you hear me slurping, I'm sorry. I'm drinking coffee while I'm doing this voiceover. And there I am just taking the, just trying to give it a little bit of a realistic look to it. Now I'm curling the edges back so that, to kind of give that real flower look. I'm doing the second layer the same way. And then I didn't like that they weren't turning enough for me, so I went and got the quilling tool. And I have a hard time getting that tool onto the paper. Does anybody else have a hard time with that? But so then I roll it. So you'll see me sometimes not even get it all the way in it. I just kind of wrap it over it anyway. It's so hard sometimes. It's like, get it on there, Linda, get it on there. Hurry up, get it on there. Just do it, Linda. Stop playing games. There you go. There you go. Just wrap it around it. There you go. Wrap it, wrap it, wrap it, wrap it. Do it to all of it. Get it all worked up in there. There you go. Now we're going to need another little one. Because that's just not... It's just not depth enough. It just doesn't feel right to me. So let's do some more. Get another flower. There we go. We're going to ink this one up. And we're going to give it a little bit of a different look to it so that it matches. And this is just regular yellow Cricut cardstock. And I'm inking it. And that rouge, that Brutus Monroe surfacing in rouge goes really well with that yellow. It's just so pretty. Such a pretty color. And now I want to give it a little more. Yeah, so I did the inking so that it gave it a little more depth to it, a little more like shadowy. Just so that it was a little bit more realistic. I fought with that tool. I'd get it and it'd pop off and I'd have to get it back on. My fingers don't cooperate very well. So then I curled that all the way around and there I am having a hard time again. So there we go. We got it finished up. And now we have to shape the the flower. Open them up a little because they're not supposed to be curled completely, but I wanted that shape to them. And I use that tip of that tool, the handle of that blender, so that it helps me get the shape, that bowl shape of a flower. Because if you look at it, it's almost like the shape of a flower bulb. And get it all shaped up. So I'm happy with it. And I wasn't happy with my little centerpiece coloring, so I did a little inking to it. Now this one here I'm using is it's Distress ink, and the color, oh my goodness, is smoke, I think. Oh my goodness. I'll correct it in the description if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was Distress ink by Ranger. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's by Ranger. And then here I'm using glitter glue to glue down all my little pieces. I like art glitter glue because it holds really well, dries clear, and it's still a little, when you first do it, it gives you a little leeway to move things around a little. Now for the center of the flower, nah, we don't want to do that heart. Get rid of that heart. We want it to look realistic. We want little tiny things in there. And I didn't use my Cricut on this, so I didn't, and I don't have one of those dies to make up the little frilly pieces that go in the middle of a flower. What are they, the seeds? Yeah, I think that's what they are. So here I'm using Spellbinder Celebration inks. And I'm trying to get a certain look to go in the middle because I wanted it to be green. And I really like these Spellbinder inks for just regular inking and things like that, and they're not that expensive, especially if you catch them when they're having a really good sale or a clearance. It's really good. They're really good inks. I like them. I've had them for over a year now, and they're still not dry, which I don't stamp a whole lot. Well, I used to not. Now I'm doing a whole lot of it. Cooperate with me, tools. There we go. And that was, I'm sorry, I'm really bad about telling you what product I'm using. And so here I'm using a Style Fine marker to color it in to see how that works for me. See if that does any better. Give it a little. And then I decided to take some Cricut glitter cardstock and cut out a bunch of circles to give that center appearance, the way a flower really should look. So I just take my punch tool and punched a bunch of them out. That's how I make confetti too. So here I'm setting them up to see what it's going to look like, how I need to arrange them all, so that I can get them all in there looking just right without being just a big old jumbled mess. Make sure I've got enough cut out. Do I like it? Yes, I like that. I like it, so I dump it out again so that I can arrange them all. Turn over, turn over, turn over. So anyway, I wanted to arrange them all so that I could put some sticky tape on the back. In the order I want them in so that they stay together instead of me having to go back through with the little tweezers and put them all in the right spot. And so line them all up. That one in the middle, the two pieces are together, so it's black on the other side also. And that gives it a little more depth too. When you have more than one of them, you just glue them together. It makes it double-sided if you don't have anything double-sided like that. And then I just put the sticky tape over it to keep them together as like one piece, one embellishment. So as not to have to fight with all those little pieces trying to get them into the spot. And then this tape I have is so old that it's just like crazy. And I have an ATG gun, but I just cannot get the thing to work correctly. which I'll be trying that on another video, trying to get my ATG gun to work correctly. That's another video. All the mishaps that I have. I think I broke it the first day I got it, and it's really a shame because I really wanted it. My son bought it for me for my birthday one year. And there goes my phone ringing. No copyright infringement intended on that. That was just my phone ringing. That's what my phone says when somebody calls, though. Who can it be now? And then Brutus Monroe's inspiration box for the month of January was Love Bug. And in it are these little ladybugs embellishments, and they're so cute. And so I just thought, well, we needed a little ladybug on the flower, because that's where you usually see a ladybug, right? It's in the garden and stuff. So I'm going to put her on the flower. And yes, mine's a her. Even though they say most of them that are brightly colored like that are males, but let's clean up the space a tad bit so that we can finish creating this card. So now I'm going to use my Cricut trimmer to trim my paper down. And that's my card base that I'm going to put it on, trying to figure out how the orientation. Do I want landscape or do I want portrait? And I ended up going with portrait, even though I really intended on going landscape. But so then I take it and I measured it down to, I want to say, that looks like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I did that because I didn't want a white edging or anything. I just wanted the pink and thing. And so here I am using the Love Bug stamp set by Brutus Monroe. And I'm arranging all my little pieces. All the little pieces because I'm going to make a little background on my cardstock. All my little hearts and my little letters XO. And if you're local to me and want to come do this with me one day, I'm open to fellow crafters coming and crafting with me. But you have to be somebody I know, because I'm not going to just invite a stranger into the house. But so there we go, and we're going to get our Tonic Studio platform. Which the reason I have this one is because price. I got this one on a really good deal for $19.99, even though they cost a lot more than that. I don't know how I managed to get it for that price, but I really wanted a Misty, but budget-wise, I had to go with what I could afford. And when I first got it, I thought this thing was broken. I couldn't get it to work right. And if you've ever used one, you know that one side of it says clear and the other thing is for rubber. I did not know that the thing comes out. The door comes out and you can turn it around. So like you have a certain side for your clear stamps and then the other side is for your rubber stamps. So here I am using the Brutus Monroe Rouge again on the Brutus Monroe cardstock that came in my inspiration box. And really watch those magnets. I don't know how many times I've accidentally slapped them together. Luckily, I know how to get really strong magnets apart because they are really strong. So then I'm just turning the card around and re-stamping it because I'm just making the background. But it was crazy. I thought the thing was broken. I thought I wasted my money. I was kind of very disappointed. I was like, oh no. And I am a messy crafter. Look at my table, my workspace, everything just moving in on me there. I didn't like the way it turned out, so I decided to do it again. There we go. I'm getting a baby wipe. Cleaning off my stamps. Rearranging. See, I'm leaving the center open so that the flower can go there. And I'm moving those stamps up to the top so they're out of the way. I love how that surface ink in Rouge by Brutus Monroe just goes really well with that paper. I love the color combination. I try to use the magnets to keep my card in place as to where I want it to go. So that's why I just slide them to the very edge of the paper when I'm trying to turn the paper around. And that way they line up where I want them to be. And we have that. Make sure that it fits, and we're going to just look at everything and make sure we have our idea of what we're doing to put it all together, how we're going to look before we glue anything. I'm thinking. I was wondering if I should get some twine and make a tag out of it, and here I was looking to see what other sentiments I had that maybe. Glue the flower down with the art and glitter glue. add some little glitter hearts. Just some finishing touches here. And I didn't want the hearts to be identical on each corner, but I wanted them to be spread out enough to be appealing, you know. I needed them to coincide with the design idea. And sometimes they don't want to stick that great. Oh. You know, because you've lifted them up and put them down and lifted them up and put them down, lifted them up and put them down. So then sometimes you got to use the glue to help set them. But right there, I just wanted that flower petal out of the way. So I glued it down so it would stay out of the way. Making sure everything's stable, and I wasn't happy with it, so my ladybug wanted to fall off. She wanted to stay right where I put her. So that's just what I did. The rest of the video is just me adding embellishments. I'm using some Style Fine markers and coloring some of the hearts, and then I use Nouveau drops on one or two to give them a glossy look. And I believe I put a couple of sequins on it. I could be wrong though. So if you're doing this, just if you're feeling like you're not inspired, and you sit down to go say, oh, I want to make a card that's almost like so and so did it, and you just can't seem to, just take out some supplies, lay them down on the table, just let them sit there, and move them around a little, and don't go with like this big huge expectation, because that's usually what causes a mind block, or the expectations of the outcome. Don't have an expectation of the outcome. Just do it. Just put the stuff down in front of you, look at it, move them around, put them beside each other, start envisioning different things, and eventually the flow will come to you. It's just like when you're writing, if you've ever done any writing, like poems or novels or any type of things like that, I forget what it's called, but it's just, you just write things down, and then none of it makes sense. It doesn't have to be in any order. You just write it all down. You can even do that when you're trying to make a card, coming up with a card idea, and you just write things down, different words, things you see, things you feel, and then before you know it, you're writing, and you'll have different little blurbs and different little things, and then later you go back and you piece it all together, and that is how you end up not being creatively blocked. When you're feeling blocked, just sit down, put your supplies in front of you, look at them, move them around, pick out the things, like that organizer says, like that. When you pick it up, it brings you joy. You will eventually get inspired, and you'll lead. It's like little stepping stones. You have to take the first step before you can go to the next. So here I am adding the Nouveau drops. think I only did one heart. I might have done more than one, but I think I only done one. No, I did a couple of them. I did like 3 of them. And this is just me putting some little dots on there. And I am using the, I think it's orange dreamsicle. If it isn't, then it's the ruby red, but I'm pretty sure that was the orange dreamsicle. And the reason I used the orange dreamsicle is because I wanted it to tie in the color of the flower. And in here I'm using the, oh my goodness, my brain doesn't want to think. I'm using the Style Fine marker to color in some of the hearts. And I use a couple of different ones, so as to have the color different, you know, the different. If you've been listening to this video and you've made it this far, you will understand why I'm not a public speaker. Even though I'm sitting here at home and I'm doing this voiceover as I watch this card, I'm making my own card. It's really weird when you watch yourself do this stuff. But the words just don't flow unless I'm just freely talking and not talking about anything in particular. Now see, I originally had talking going on with the video, but because I cut a bunch of pieces out of the video, the talking didn't make sense. So I detached I detached the audio, and now I'm doing the voiceover, and it's really tricky because there's a lot of things I don't remember what was going through my head when I did the video, and I can't stop to write things down because then that would break my flow. Alright, well, enjoy the rest of the video and music as I finish up the card. If you liked watching me make this card and watching me do other crafts and crafting along with me, hopefully, hit subscribe and hit the little like button, that little thumbs up. It'll help my channel. I'm a very small channel. I'm new, but I'm not new. When I first opened up my YouTube, it was just so I could share some videos with some friends. But anyway, yeah, if you want to know what's coming up next, hit the little bell for notifications. That way you're notified when I post a new video or when I go live, which I'm not on a set schedule as far as going live because I'm still having a little issues with that. But okay, yeah, if you like this, please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. Have a great day. Enjoy.